Shalom. Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah Barakathah for the brothers. Yahweh Shemal Thaba Shem Yahweh Shah for the sisters. This is the Thursday night scripture breakdown class of the Israelite School of the Universal Practical Knowledge under the commanding General Yohana out of Harlem, New York, 125th Street. All right, I'm Priest Officer Shadrach 1000, and we're going to speak tonight and have the topic on the result of the terror of our oppressors. What is our oppressors experiencing behind the latest current events and the terror that has been prophesied against him? Okay, so we're gonna go ahead right ahead. Shalom, Olivia Arnold. Shalom, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shemal Thaba Shem Yahweh Shah. All right. Now I'm gonna go ahead and go into it. I'm gonna go to the book of Job, chapter 9 and verse 24. The book of Job, chapter 9 and verse 24. It says, "The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covers the face of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he?" All right. Salaki, I'm gonna have to give me 1 second. Okay. Salaki for that. All right. So tonight, if you're just now tuning in, tonight is the Thursday night scripture breakdown class. I'm Priest Officer Shadrach 1000. And we're going to go into the results the oppressor has taken from all the terror that has been going on in current events, all the terror that has been going on that you're seeing on the news and different things like such, and the scriptures, of course. So I'm gonna go back to we're at Job chapter 9 and verse 24. The earth was given into the hand, so like the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? So as we're not knowing, we go through praying to this white Jesus and thinking that our oppressor and everything that he stands for is all good and what he's saying is truth and righteous. However, the Bible says the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Now, we saw on TV one of the wicked got news about him being slain, and it's Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk has been shot. All right, shot to death. Okay, why? Because our oppressor is basically falling into the hands of himself, of all of his doings and all the things that he has done is coming back to haunt him. It's coming back for him to bear witness that his children and himself are going to be slain. Okay, they're going to be slain. You understand? Because of what they've done to Black, Hispanics, and Native Indians. And if you don't know, I'm going to say it again. The Black, Hispanics, and Native Indians are the true children of Israel. Okay? the real children out this Bible that God chose. And this is why the oppressor is going through what he's going through. They're doing all this on TV, the life of the political life of Charlie Kirk. And of course, it's 9/11 again. You can't forget that. They won't let you forget it. All right. Okay, Princess Sister Nazam, Anna, Jewel, Shalom, Yahweh Shemal, Thaba Hashem, Yahweh Shai says, welcome to class. All right. So 9/11, Charlie Kirk, and they just had a thing on the news about a Denver school shooting. Okay, where the shooter actually turned a gun on himself and unalived himself. Okay, it's like they look at us. You see it all on social media. They're looking at us like we're the only ones that do violence to each other in our nation as Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. However, they're the ones that are experiencing a lot of unaliving, in current events and recently, all these things are happening to them. So therefore, what's really going on here? Then we're in the midst of World War III, coming into World War III. It's about to be World War III. They having all of these hostages. They're not going to be released because I believe it's Russia. No, not Russia, but Israel is planning to bomb again. Is planning to bomb Gaza and all of that again. So there's going to be no hostage releasing, and people are terrified. They're getting terrified now. You understand? So a lot of these things are happening because you have chosen to unalive Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. You have chosen the Trail of Tears for our so-called Native Indian brothers. You've chosen the transatlantic slave trade for our Judite brothers, our so-called Negroes. You have chosen all these things for the Latinos and everything like that. The Zook Suit raid and all the things that's happening with the deportations and the breaking apart of families. So now what you have done has to be done to you. And that's speaking of the oppressor. What the oppressor has done has to be done to them, to him, or to them and their children. Okay. So we're going to go to Isaiah 14 and verse 21. Part of the scripture, Isaiah 14 and verse 21. And it says, prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquities of their fathers. See, I just saw the news, the mothers out there crying like crazy because of the Denver shooting. The Denver high school shooting. She crying like mad, and looking terrified because her children and the children in that school are now at risk. School shootings happening all over the place. Yet they call us animals. Not even once have we even gone into school and shot anyone like that, and on a mass level. Okay, and if it is, it's very, very, very few and far between in the so-called Black community and the so-called Hispanic community. And it's like they are bloodthirsty for their own blood. So it says, prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquities of their fathers, for the sins of their fathers, for the things that they've done that was wrong. You understand? Prepare slaughter. Okay? It's going to be where they're going to be unalived on a larger scale, a greater scale than what's even currently happening now. Because as the Bible speaks, it states that time was cut short, yet so that no flesh, or else, Salaki, no else, and I'm paraphrasing, no flesh would be saved alive. That means anyone will be even saved alive. Because the Lord is angry. The Lord is about to bring judgment on this earth, man. And it's good for us to go through it because we're going to have a whole lot of sorrow. But however, this is done for us. It's for our freedom from this oppressor, from this madman, okay? From this bloodthirsty madman. That's what he is. Understand? This liar, this murderer, all right? Shalom, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Rakatha, Trooper Shalat, welcome. Shalom, Yahweh Shema, Lathaba Shem Yahweh for Sister Lawaya. Shalom, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Rakatha, Priest Kodashi Allah, welcome, brother. All right. Hope everything going well with you, Kodashi Yala. All right. So this is what happened. This is becoming common days because this is becoming regular news. You turn around, it's a school shooting. You turn around, a family gets unalived. You turn around, a politician gets unalived. Okay, and this one is it has been, I believe he's been promoting the LGBTQ whatever community, transgender community. I don't know. Then again, the transgender community is the one that shot him, that unalived him. Okay, you know, these things are happening because our people need to be free. Our people need to get out from under this madness, his rulership, his way of life, his ways. The Bible says, do not take on the ways of the oppressor. You understand? You don't break bread with your oppressor. You don't take on his ways. Don't choose none of his ways. His ways are not your ways. That's why we're not even to take on their wives, their daughters as wives, man. They have to be off to themselves. Israel is a holy nation. Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians need to realize that we are a holy nation, which means we are a separate nation. We are to separate ourselves. And we really need to with what's going on. You know, we really need to. This World War III is coming. Russia threw some drones that went into the airspace, violated the airspaces. You know, they don't care. They just want to make sure that Ukraine is unalive so that they can get that land and rule their corrupt rulership and continue their corrupt rulership in the earth. You understand? That's what they really want to do, you know? So they don't care. And Israel, look, they're not listening to America. They're going to get out there and they're going to start bombing and continue to just shoot missiles and drones over into Gaza, over into that part of the Middle East, you know, where we're supposed to be, but where the fake Jewish people are. Fake. Those ish people. You understand? So these are results. This man's experiencing terror on every side. Okay? Terror on every side. You know, they 9/11, it was 2,977 victims. 2,977 victims for 9/11. You know? Imagine, that's nothing compared to the transatlantic slave trade. And probably most likely the Trail of Tears as well. That's nothing compared. 2,977 is a drop in a bucket over the millions of slaves that was transported and uprooted out of West Africa and brought to America against their will, our ancestors. You see what I'm saying? So this time has to go for them. This time has to be turned against them. This time has to be where they're the ones that's going to reap what they sow. They talk about they're so civilized and all of this, yet you go into schools and you shoot children. You start human trafficking. You bring drugs from Vietnam and bring it to America, and heroin and all that, and had the brothers strung out. The ones that was in Vietnam and the ones that's in the hood, strung out on heroin in the 70s and 60s. And then you got the 80s with the cocaine epidemic. You understand? You know, when Oliver North got caught with all those weapons, you know, got caught with all those weapons he was trying to bring across, you know, and these are the things that they're trying to push up under the rug and try to make that they're so righteous and they can do no harm and no wrong to you. But our oppressor is the devil the Bible speaks of. That's who our oppressor is. You understand? He's the devil the Bible speaks of. because what he does is on a mass level. It's on a higher, way higher level than somebody sticking up a gas station or somebody just robbing a jewelry store or robbing a liquor store. It's on a way higher level. Okay, that's why now they can't push back and they can't sweep under the rug the things that they're doing now and what they've done in the past. Okay, that's why the Lord said, "Prepare slaughter for him for the iniquities of his father." All right. So let's go to Psalms 137 and verse 1. Book of Psalms, chapter 137 and verse 1. Give me a second. I'm gonna go ahead and get it. Okay. Now we're gonna go down to verse 4. How shall we sing the Lord's song in a strange land? See, this land is strange to us. His ways are strange to us. We want to act like we down and cool with it, but his ways are strange, man. His ways are not for us. His ways are wicked. His ways are that'll drag you straight into corruption. You understand? Drag you straight into becoming a damn pedophile your damn self. You understand? A straight up molester or an adulterer. You understand? Because of his ways. So now he has to succumb to his actions. And the wicked have to be punished. They have to be. Shalom, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shabbarakatha, Trooper Batak. Welcome. All right. So now let's go to the book of Obadiah, chapter 1 and verse 10. The book of Obadiah, chapter 1 and verse 10. I might go above that a little bit, but I'll take it right here. It says, "For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee." It's very shameful when the world's starting to realize that you're doing a whole lot of unaliving. You're not being forthright and telling the public the truth. You're breaking up families just like you did during the transatlantic slave trade with all this deportation and all these things. You know, it was take a little issue to even close Alligator Alcatraz. If it got closed, let me know in the chat if Alligator Alcatraz is closed now. They would talk about closing it. All right, which that was just horrific. Those conditions was horrific over there. Okay. See, this happens because the oppressor has a man in office now who's a straight idiot, a power hungry, money hungry, selfish, immature, domineering individual who must be set aside, who must get out of the way of the children of Israel, of the entire world, really, because he cannot rule. Let's see. Let's go up to verse 3. This is still in the book of Obadiah, chapter 1 and verse 3. "The pride of thine heart has deceived thee." See, Trump's pride has deceived him. You understand? Trump's pride has deceived him. So, Trooper Shalak, you saying that Alligator Alcatraz is not closed, it's still open for business? Probably is. All right. "The pride of thy heart has deceived thee, thou that dwelleth in the clefts of the rocks." You who come from the in other words, you who come from the Caucasian, was it Mount Caucasoid? the Caucasus Mountains, Salaki, the Caucasus Mountains. That's the cleft of the rocks. You dwell there. Your people dwelled. It originated in those rocks, in those mountainous areas. That's where our oppressor is from. But his pride has deceived him. Just as he's deceiving this world, he deceived himself with his own pride. You understand? And look at that prideful bastard that's in office right now. Can't you tell? That's where he from. That's his clan. Those are his ancestors. And that's him. He has that spirit of being proud and puffed up that nothing can harm him. So he thinks. But yet you got the school shooting, you got Charlie Kirk. Man, it's just all over the news, all over. It's just showing, how he got unalived. I think they opened up the magazine on him. You understand? They shot him multiple times and unalived him. Okay. The pride of thy heart has deceived thee, thou that dwelleth in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high. If you come from the caves, your habitation is high. You live way up there. Okay, that's where Esau went to. That's where he ended up, in Mount Seir, a mountain called Seir, Mount Seir in the Bible. If you look up the story of Esau and Jacob, Esau is Edom, which means red, from the mountains. See, whose habitation is high, saith in his heart. When it saith in his heart, it saith in his mind. Who says in his mind, who shall bring me down to the ground? See, who shall bring me down to the ground? That sounds like Trump, don't it? Who gonna bring me down? That sounds like Trump. Let's start the deportation. Get ICE in there and deportate the Latinos. Take these people's jobs away from them. You understand? Go over here and drop them bombs on Iran, on their nuclear power base. You understand? Spread yourself out in the world like you something. The Lord is going to bring him to nothing, and he will never rule this place again because of his devastating and evil ways, horrific judgments and behaviors. Right? Okay. Verse 4, thou exalt thyself as the eagle, which is the symbol of the United States, which is the symbol of ancient Rome, which is the symbol of Germany. Okay. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, he set his nest among the stars. He puts spacecrafts together and shoot them out towards the moon and shoot them into space. So he sets his nest in the stars because he wants to live out there. A nest is where an animal puts their young so that the young can live in that nest. Esau wants to put himself in that nest in space. Okay, that's where he wants to. That's where he wants to put it. Okay. Thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord. So I didn't say that. The Most High said that. Thence I will bring thee down. The Lord will bring Esau down. The Lord is going to bring our oppressor down from them Star Wars programs and going into Mars and trying to live on Mars, trying to live on the moon, trying to live on any other planet they could possibly get to, just to get away from blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians and from the destruction that they see is happening to the earth. The earth is being destroyed. Who destroyed it? Our oppressor destroyed it. They did. We don't own those corporations like that. I don't know no brothers who are doing some offshore fracking. I don't know no people that's out there dumping nuclear waste in the rivers and in the oceans. I don't see brothers and sisters out there causing oil spills and those oil spills and mudslides and whatever. You understand? That's their doing. And for their doing, they must pay. You understand? That's the way of the righteous. What you have done, what you do, should be done unto you. So that goes the other way as well. If you're doing good and you're being good with people, you're really being righteous toward people, then righteousness should come unto you. However, our oppressor has done unrighteousness, so that unrighteousness is what he is going to reap. You know, that unrighteousness is what he is going to get. That's right. That's waiting around the corner for our oppressor. Okay. Now, as a result, we went to 10, right? Okay. So let's go to the Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 12 and verse 5. The Wisdom of Solomon, that's in the Apocrypha, chapter 12, verse 5. And also, okay. Now I'm gonna go to verse 2. It's the Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 12, and verse 2. Therefore, chasten thou them by little and little that offend, and warneth them by putting them in remembrance, wherein they have offended, that leaving their wickedness, they may believe on thee, O Lord. Okay, so when you leaving that unrighteousness and you coming into serving the Lord, put it into remembrance. Put them into remembrance. Remember who was wicked and who wasn't. Okay, who was corrupt and who wasn't. Verse 3, for it was thy will to destroy by the hands of our fathers, both those old inhabitants and of thy holy land. Verse 4, whom thou hatest for doing most odious works of witchcraft and wicked sacrifices. Verse 5, and also those merciless murderers of children and devourers of man's flesh. Now, didn't y'all see? I don't know if y'all saw that. They had a video of one of our oppressors fighting one of our oppressors, and the guy just ran up on the other guy and bit him in his face. Understand? Just ran up on him and bit him in the face. That's cannibalism, isn't it? That's cannibalism. You understand? That's what our oppressor does. You know, he has not hated blood, so blood will pursue him. You know, and of course I'm paraphrasing. That's another scripture. You know, see, he says, "Since thou hast not hated blood, blood shall pursue thee." You understand? Those are merciless murderers of children and devourers of man's flesh, and the feasts of blood. Now, last class I was speaking about the Rosicrucians and the Freemasons and the Illuminatis and all of that. They have those cults have those ceremonies where they do sacrifice human blood. They do sacrifice and shed blood for their initiations and for their feasts, ceremonies or whatever they are. You understand? It's disgusting and it's despicable, but that's what they do. That beast, that's right, Trooper Shalat, the beast of the field. You can grab that scripture if you want. Grab that and I'll read it. Okay, that's right. He was the most subtle beast of the field. That's right, Shalat. Because the Bible speaks in not parables, metaphors. It does speak in parables, but it also speaks in metaphors. Now, the metaphor is a beast. In this case, as Brother Trooper Shalat brought out, that beast the Lord was describing as men. So he was the most subtle man in the field, the most subtle beast of the field. Okay, so I'm gonna continue. Let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and drop that. I'm gonna go to Lamentations 4:18. Book of Lamentations, chapter 4:18. So I'm gonna go to 4:17. As for us, our eyes has yet failed for our vain help. See, vain help. That's the help that you're not going to get. You're not going to get that help because it's vain, useless. Vain is useless, to be vain. Okay, we look for help as a people. This is speaking of the children of Israel. You understand? So we couldn't find any help. Our eyes was looking to get help out of what's been going on in the ghettos, what's been going on in the barrios and reservations. In our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us. This nation can't even save itself. America can't save itself. America is going into the third world's war, like it or not. It cannot save itself. They're so confused. They're politician after politician. I'm waiting for a civil war to break out. I'm waiting a civil war to break out, like the North and the South, back when our people were slaves. You understand? I'm waiting for that to break out. They got so much of this politician disagreements and infighting and backfighting and whatever. They can't save themselves, man. But why are we looking for them to save us? Okay. All right. I'm gonna go to it. Trooper Shalad, Genesis, that's chapter 3 and verse 1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field. See, it wasn't a snake. It's called a serpent. He acted like a serpent, but he wasn't a snake. He was a man. He was a man who beguiled Eve. Understand? That was a man, a subtle man. He was the most subtle. The serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field, which the Lord God had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, hath God said, ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden. So, I was reading that as well in the book I had, Satan's Angels Exposed. And that's what it said in there. She was deceived, by a man, and it was by his philosophies. She was looking for power. It was a lust for power, which was her sin. All right. Shalom, Yahweh Shem Yashai Barakatah, Shadiala. That's right, 5 stacks. What's going on there, Adawan? Good to hear from you. Welcome. All right. So that's what happens. That lust of power caused Eve to err by the most subtle beast of the field. She was beguiled by that beast. Say, yeah, you shall not surely die. So he was going against what the Most High had laid down. The law that the Most High laid down was a law that Adam went by. Adam didn't have a problem with it in the beginning. He didn't have a problem with it, but Eve did. Eve wanted that power. And so does these mega churches, these mega church leaders, these cults. You got the Illuminati's, the Y Shop, and the Bilderbergers. The Bilderbergers group is a secret cult group. Okay, they thrive for power, American dollars, foreign dollars, and they want to put those foreign dollars to go to work to control the world. They want those dollars to control the world. They want the government to control everything. So you can't go and pull money out of the bank. You're gonna have to Ask the bank, how much money can I pull out? Okay. How much money can I pull out? Because the Bilderbergs, the Trilateral Commissions, the CFR, which is the Council of Foreign Relations, they have the power over this money. The Rothschilds, of course, the Bilderberg Group, the Rosicrucians. Rosicrucians are another cult that's been here a long time ago. Those are the people that worship Satan. Those are the people that worship Satan. You understand? So that lust for power, you have to watch that when you out here, because people are looking for that. They're looking for that. That's that puffing yourself up. That's what our oppressor does. This pride has deceived him. You understand? Trump, who can bring me down? All of that is because of that lust for that money. It's not the money so much that's the problem. It's the lust for it. It's that lust for power and control. You know what I mean? Those are the things that we need to look at and be very careful of it, because we need to exercise and practice humility. You know, every prophet in the Bible had to humble themselves. Every priest and prophet had to humble themselves in the Bible before doing God's work, or they got humbled doing God's work. You understand? And those who ended up on the good side of that ball were blessed. Okay, on the good side of that, they were, or who ended up on the good side of being humble in themselves, were blessed. You know, so it's important that we understand, you know, where we are, what's our place in doing the Most High's work and keeping His laws, statutes, and commandments. You know, it's very important that we see that, and that we don't treat our brothers and sisters wrong. That's why I respect the Commander General Yohana so much about what he does, because he teaches and he makes sure that brotherhood within the ISUPK is continuous, is upholded, and that it is a standard and a foundation of where we all, as priest prophets, where we operate from, a place of humility, a place of brotherhood, a place of unity, being together, because we are really going to need it in these times. We are really going to need it, the way all these current events and things that are unraveling. We're going to need some brotherhood. Oh yeah, we're going to need to be looking out for each other in a big way. We're going to realize it, and those of us who don't, we're going to realize, man, this thing is bigger than, you know, people in the world will realize this is bigger than what we really thought it was. They're going to be knocking our phones down, calling us and trying to get some guidance from General Muhammad, from all the priests, prophets, and officers and everything. They're going to be breaking them phones down. But there's going to come a time where we're not even going to be available. And where is that going to lead you to? So it's important to stay in this school, get into these classes, continue to watch these classes and learn. Because you'll be beguiled by that serpent if you don't. And it's easy, because people love the control. People love to control somebody, and people got a big love for money. You understand? That's what the mega churches do, and they teach all those things, all those doctrines that are against the Most High. It seems like it's the Most High that is coming from the Most High, but it's actually against the Most High. You know, having that form of godliness, but denying the Most High, the power thereof, denying the Most High's power. You know, you having that form, you putting on that pimp suit, that pimp pastor suit, and you going around teaching people to celebrate Christmas. You going around teaching people to give gifts on birthdays and observe Christmas and all those things. Eat that shrimp, crab, and lobster, because the Most High said all meats are good. You know, you're gonna pay for all of that. So we're not to listen to that. That's not what we're here for. We're here as a nation, as the Most High's nation, who He chose. We're here to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments as the way the Most High commanded us to do. Okay, it's that simple. All right. So, we go back to it. verse 2, Genesis 3 and verse 2. And the woman said unto the serpent, we may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden. Verse 3, but of the fruit of the tree that is in the midst of the garden, the tree that's in the middle of the garden, okay, God has said, ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. See, she knew the commandments. She knew what the law was. You know, not the commandments, but she knew what the Most High put down, that law that he said don't eat of that tree. Okay, because of course this was before the 10 Commandments was written by Moses. She knew she wasn't supposed to eat it, but verse 4 says, and the serpent said unto the woman, ye shall not surely die. So that's taken away subtly. That's subtle. You won't die. Come on now, you won't die. The Most High kidding. You won't die. He said you'll die just because he just don't want you to eat it. Okay. Verse 5, for God doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then ye eyes shall be open. Okay. But see, we're not talking about a fruit. We're talking about the philosophies of this world, all the philosophies that are in this world. You understand? You know, philosophy like, they were after, of course, but this was like Nietzsche. Nietzsche wrote, it was Nietzsche's philosophy, or Plato's philosophy, or who else was it? Plato, Nietzsche, those great philosophers, those Greek philosophers. You know, there's a philosophy like that Eve accepted and took, and to eat it is to put it in your mind, put it inside of you, and make you become a part of it, make it a part of you, which was wrong. Okay. And the serpent, verse 5, for God doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be open. See, it's telling you, now you'll have power. Your eyes will be open if you take this philosophy. It's right, Socrates. That's who I was trying to, Trooper Shalati order. You know, we kind of like mine. Socrates. You know, Socrates drank hemlock. He drank hemlock because Socrates was accused of influencing the young Greek men of his time in Rome and Greek and all that, in Greece and all of that. Right, I believe it was Greece. And that's, that's kind of proves he probably was a pedophile. That kind of proves he was a pedophile because they wanted to kill him because of that. You understand? But Socrates, being such a good citizen as it was written, in them history books, Socrates drank hemlock, which is actual natural poisoning from a herb. He said, I'd rather do that than face what they're going to do to me, than what the Greeks were going to do to him, what his society was going to do to him. Yeah, Socrates was another one that had that philosophy out there that's jacked up. Okay. So, that's correct. So now it says, your eyes shall be open and you shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. So there it is. You're going to know good and you're going to know evil, being out there trying to, taking on man's philosophies and everything like that. Okay. So, it goes into their eyes were open, they were ashamed, and they were basically kicked out of the Garden of Eden because of it. And through her, sin came into the world, which is the reason why we're in the problems that we're in now. As we're in here fighting our demons now because of this, So it's important. As a fact, there's more to that story. Listen to what the Most High tells you. Man is to not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out the mouth of the Most High God. I'm paraphrasing, but by everything that the Most High says, that's how we're supposed to live. So we're bringing you back to this because this is the reason why you got a third world war coming in the first place. That's why this Charlie Kirk was unalive. Okay. Sent into this world because we didn't listen to the Most High. Okay. So now let's go to we're into what are the results of our oppressor doing the things that he's done to the children of Israel. What's happening to him now? And as I said earlier, terror is on every side. Terror is on every side. He's going through some things now. You understand? He's going through some things. So let's go to we'll stay in that book of Genesis and go to chapter 27 and verse 40. Genesis 27 and verse 40. Okay. So this is part of when the birthright was given to Jacob and the times when how you say it? When the birthright, all of the benefits of that birthright was told and foretold by Isaac to Esau and Jacob. Okay. Yeah, Shalai, that's right. The Unaliving is on live TV. It sure is. But it was unheard of back in the 70s. It was unheard of damn near almost in the 80s. And now they're unaliving it, doing everything, cursing on TV and everything now. So on live TV, that's true. So here we go, verse 40. And thy sword, Salaki, and by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. Okay. And it shall come to pass when thou shalt have dominion that thou shalt break his yoke off thy neck. Okay. So that's what Esau was that's what Isaac was telling his son, that he's going to live by the sword. By the sword you shall live. He didn't say whoever blesses you will bless you, whoever curses you will be cursed, because he didn't get the good side of the birthright because he sold it to his brother Jacob. So now he got to live by the sword. Now our oppressor got to live by the sword. He has to make nuclear bombs. He has to have Scud missiles. He has to have those supersonic missiles. And he has to have all kinds of troops and armies and navies and Air Force and everything, and Marines go out there and defend this nation because he has to live by the sword, because he's used to unaliving, because he despised that birthright. Okay. Verse 41, and Esau, who was our oppressor, hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him, because his father blessed Isaac, because Isaac knew the value of that birthright, our forefather, because all Black, Hispanics, and Native Indians come from Isaac. We descend from Isaac. Isaac's name was changed to Israel. That's why we are Israel. You understand? So his father blessed him for that. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand, because Isaac died shortly after he gave the results of those blessings of the birthright. Okay. So the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then I will slay my brother Jacob. Then I will unalive my brother Jacob. So he was ready for that. He was ready for that. And the book of Obadiah does say, for thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee. All the violence that you've done to Black, Hispanics, and Native Indians, shame is going to cover you. you will not be blessed. You're going to have to live by that sword. You're going to have to, you made that bed, you got to sleep in it. Okay. Israel right now is building up a attack to overtake and pursue Gaza City. You understand? That's our oppressor, because they are not the real Jews. Those are Israelis. You understand? We're the Israelites, the real Israelites. You know what I'm saying? So they're planning to ramp up, to build up their defense and their attack, really their attack on Gaza City as we speak right now. It's on the news. Okay? So, for thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee. And Esau was definitely looking for Jacob, boy. He was going to kill his brother. He definitely is going to kill his brother. They're killing us now on the streets. We're getting killed by cops left and right. Like, we're getting killed by cops left and right. So it's imperative that we realize that we need unity amongst ourselves, because our oppressor is getting it. He's getting the results of what he's done to the people, of unaliving other people. Now his own nation is unaliving itself from within. Okay, his own nation is unaliving itself from within. You know. Let's go to let's see. Let's go to Ephesians chapter 4, verse 17. The book of Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 17. This I say, therefore, and testify in the Lord, that you henceforth walk not as other Gentiles walked, in the vanity of their mind. They walk in the vanity of their mind and the pride of their minds, in the things that they think that is going to benefit them. You know, what's benefiting them? Well, right now, what's benefiting them is the school shooter in Nebraska. That's what's benefiting them. What's benefiting them now is trying to make sure you don't forget, because they're not going to forget 9/11. What's benefiting them now? Bombing and taking over Gaza, the Gaza Strip. But see, they want that land. They want that oil. They got the lust for that oil, that power, you know? So they're going to unalive the mother Gentiles that are in Gaza City, the Palestinians, right? They're going to unalive the Palestinians, okay? So let's go to Jeremiah chapter 16 and verse 19. The book of Jeremiah chapter 16 and verse 19. O Lord, my strength and my fortress and my refuge in the day of affliction, the Gentiles shall come unto thee from the ends of the earth. They're going to be coming to us from the ends of the earth. They're going to be coming to us from the ends of the earth, those Gentiles. Okay? Those ones who are not chosen by God, them Africans, them East Indians, especially our oppressor, them so-called white man. All right? They're going to come from the ends of the earth. Okay? And say, it shall say, surely our fathers have inherited lies, vanity, and things wherein there is no profit. See, there's no profit in you just taking your riches and say, see, this is what I got. You can't, they got that saying in America, you can't afford it. You can't afford it. I can afford it. You look like you can't afford it. I can afford it. I get a yacht. I have a mansion. I got stocks in Wall Street. I got land far as the eye can see. I got yachts. I got, Lear jets. I got a personal helicopter. I got all these stocks and bonds and gold and silver and all these different things. But those things have not profited you. Look at where you at now. You got to defend all of that. You got to go and shed someone else's blood. You got to unalive somebody else just to keep what you got. That's foolishness, man. The Lord said he will bring a foolish nation above us because of our sins, because we didn't keep the law, statutes, and commandments as God's chosen. So he set a foolish nation above us because they're foolish at what they do. They're sore winners. They won everything and they still mad. Why are you still mad if you done won everything against your enemy? Because we're his true enemies. He won everything, but he's still mad. He's not dealing and ruling in a righteous way. He's not dealing in a righteous way. He's not leading and reigning and righteously for everybody. It's not for everybody. He's putting trillions of dollars into things where he could have put one of those trillions in the ghetto and clean the whole all the ghettos of this nation up. Wouldn't be no more ghettos in the nation. He could have did that. And that's showing that this whole nation is rich. Like he want to show, that this nation is rich, which it is the richest nation in the world. Yet we have ghettos. We have homeless. We have addicts out on the street, strung out. We have mental health people on the streets going crazy. You understand? So I'm going to read it again. O Lord, my strength and my fortress and my refuge in the day of affliction, the Gentiles shall come up unto thee, earth, and shall say, surely our fathers have inherited lies, vanity, and things wherein there is no profit. Okay. Verse 20 says, shall a man make gods of him unto himself, and they are no gods? You're going to make a god to yourself, and it's really not even a god. You understand? What's going on with that? So these Gentiles, they're going to come from the ends of the earth and say, our father taught us lies, man. Our fathers taught us things that wasn't the truth. They lied to his own flesh and blood. So imagine what kind of lies he's telling you. You understand? I'm going to go just briefly to the book of John, chapter 8 and verse 44. John, chapter 8 and verse 44. Ye are of your father the devil, and the lusts of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth. He was a murderer from the beginning. Okay? It's crazy. And he didn't live in the truth. And so those Gentiles came from the earth, are going to come from the earth, all the ends of the earth, and say, surely our father taught us lies and vanity, to be vain and a lie, man. Like Trump. Don't Trump lie? Trump lies like crazy. And he's very vain, very egotistical. You understand? So that's what this is. This is Christ. This is what Christ was saying. Okay. And abode not in the truth. He didn't live in the truth because there is no truth in him. There's no truth in him. There's no truth in our oppressor, man. None. Okay. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own. For he is a liar and the father of it. He good at telling lies. Black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian man, you think you could say some lies, you could tell some lies, you ain't got nothing on our oppressor when it comes to lying. He's the father of it. He's the father. Like you said, you can't BS a BSer, right? You can't con a con man, can you? No. So you can't outlie a real liar. And every politician since day one in America has been lying. Every single one of them. We found out. Oh, Arthurwana, Shalom, Yahweh Shemala, thought about Shem Yahweh Shai, sis. Welcome. All right. So, right, you cannot. You cannot. Damn right, Trooper Shalada and Sister Olivia. You can't out con a con man. You can't BS a BSer, and you can't outlie the expert liar. You know, in that book I had last week that I was teaching from Satan's Angels Exposed, they were talking about Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter, that peanut president. They called him the peanut president because in the 80s, he was so humble. He looked like the type that would never send no troops nowhere like Trump is doing, like Nixon would do, you know? Yeah. He wouldn't send nobody like that. Carter was the peanut owner. Peanut had a peanut farm, and he was a Christian. Okay. Come to find out that he was part of the cults. He was part of the cults that were running and that are still running now that are trying to take over this world. The Trilateral Commission, the Bilderbergers. I believe he was either a Rosicrucian or like a Freemason, something like that. One of the Trilateral, the Rosicrucian, Freemason. Jimmy Carter was behind that too. He was just subtle. They just put him there to make you think that he was just a good old Christian, good old peanut farming Christian man. Nah, he was about the ulterior motive, the dark side of America, the side that sacrificed people, the side that goes into foreign affairs and is ready to bankrupt America. They're ready to bankrupt America. That's right, Shalat. Trooper Shalat, they slick a can of oil. Slick as a can of oil. Yeah, about as slick as a can of oil. You drop that oil on the floor, let somebody walk by it real fast and see what happens. Walk on it real fast and slip and probably break their bones. All right. They're slick and con men, man. He was set in office for that purpose, to keep things going with the Trilateral Commission, to keep things going, to continue out these cults that are secret. See, all those cults are secret societies, man. They're secret societies. And this is why all of this comes into place and ties into our oppressor experiencing what he's experiencing with this terror right now that he's going through. With that political guy that got killed right now. Salaki, give me 1 second. Okay. So I wanted to talk about this Jimmy Carter guy, president. You know, not a lot, but just a little bit, so we could see where he was in the scheme of things. If I could find it, you know. If I could find it real quick. It's crazy because this is the book that I was teaching last week. It's called Satan's Angels Exposed, and that's by Salem Kerbin. Salem Kerbin. That was the one that I was speaking about last week. I believe it was when I was teaching last week. Let's see. because America always has a ulterior motive. There's a lot of things going in with the behind the curtains that we don't know about, that we just don't, we take for granted. We think that this is just the way it's supposed to be, and it's not. It's not true. It's very, very nefarious, like they say. It's very evil, wicked as hell. So we gotta keep guard of what we see, what we take in, and what we do, because they want to make sure that they take over this place, and it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen anyway. It's gonna happen where they're gonna take over America. America gonna be the United States of Europe. That's coming. The United States of Europe. That's about to be in the next plan. And nobody's gonna be able to stop that. No one is gonna be able to oh, hey, look, you're doing the wrong thing, so don't get in here. Don't become part of this, because it's just the wrong thing to do. No, this is gonna go. It's gonna keep going until they reach their final objective. And their final objective is really Armageddon. Their final objective is basically to go against Christ, to have that war. And Christ is gonna put it down. They're gonna FAFO, like they say. America is gonna FAFO. Our oppressor, he FAFO in now. He was a conservative activist. Charlie Kirk was a conservative activist. See, all up in the politicians, all up in there, having their ways and saying the things that they say, but it's crazy that the chickens are coming home to roost for him. But it's just a little bit. It's not a lot yet. Just a little bit, but they are coming home to roost. Those chickens is coming home to roost for him, and he don't know how to handle it. He's not gonna be able to handle it. He's not able to handle all of that bloodshed on his side. On his side, it's coming. That's crazy. I almost had this politician. This is another politician, Jimmy Carter, this peanut man, and his little wicked plan they had, and what he was under while he was sitting up there. And just recently they were talking about how he was such a great president. Jimmy Carter was such a great president. Charlie Kirk didn't die from a gunshot wound. He died due to excessive blood. Excessive blood loss. Salaki. It wasn't multiple gunshots. It was excessive blood loss. Wow. The Waterford, clean it up for me, for the class. Man, excessive blood loss. That is like true for that scripture. Since thou hast not hated blood, blood shall pursue thee. You know what I'm saying? It's just inevitable. It's inevitable that they're gonna have their day. They're gonna have their day in the sun. And it's crazy. It's crazy because we're thinking that they're right. Depending on him, depending on these pharaohs, these modern day pharaohs, and so-called leaders, they getting unalived as a result of them unaliving us so many times, and it's crazy because they have, on the news they have so-called Negro reporters reporting the stories, but it's not our mess up, it's their mess up. Why don't they report it for themselves? Why don't they report it? No, because that'd be too much like right. That would be way too much like right. They don't want to report it for themselves. So it's a definite plan. It's a definite plan to unalive. It's a definite reaping what you're sowing. It's going to be a lot more of that in the future. A lot more that's coming in the future. We're going to see a lot more of that. You understand? So look, as I go in here, I'm looking at this book in here. It seems like I'm not going to be able to find it at this time. So select me on that. Let me go to, let's go to Revelation 13 and verse 9. Let's go to the book of Revelation 13 and verse 9. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with that sword. And that's what we experiencing. It's crazy. They go on unaliving in the world and having all these things happen in Gaza. All these things happen with the Mexicans. All these things happening with the so-called Negroes, being unalive. But because he has to kill with the sword, he must be killed with the sword. He must be unalive with the sword, man. All right? But that's what the Bible says. If you got an ear, you need to hear. Okay? Here's the patience and the faith of the saints. That's why we have to hold ourselves in discipline and in obedience to what we should do. When it comes to following what the Most High is teaching us and commanding of us to do. We have to keep ourselves in check. Okay. So I think I might have it right here about the Peanut Man, Jimmy Carter. It is interesting this is page 216 from the book I just put up there. This is like the last paragraph. Okay. It is interesting to observe that most every aspect of Jimmy Carter's foreign policy in the late 70s reflected a trilateral viewpoint. See, he was trilateralist viewpoint. So he was with that secret society, the trilaterals. See, the Trilateral Commission on page 214, the Trilateral Commission is an extension of the Council of Foreign Relationships. Remember I was saying CFR, the Council of Foreign Relations. Its ultimate goal is to incorporate Japan, Canada, and the United States and common market nations of Europe into a one world socialistic governmental web. The name trilateral is derived from the fact that leaders come from three democratic areas of the world: the United States, Western Europe, and Japan. It was Rockefeller who handpicked this elite group of some 250 individuals in 1973 to become this organization. They included power shapers from business, banking, government, labor, and intelligentsia. See that? That's where the trilateralists come from. Okay. So that's part of their real purpose. Their real purpose, getting into the common market. And don't you know that common market is shaped just like a cross? It's in Belgium, Brussels, Belgium. And it's a cross. It's 10 countries that's there that runs that whole common market. Okay. And it's in Europe. That is what the trilateralists support. Okay. So make no mistake, they have that underlying wicked motive. Okay. And that's the reason why they're getting unalive like this. Okay. On the surface, the group would appear to be accomplishing good, seeking ways to make positive contributions to world problems. The Trilateral Commission meets twice a year to discuss problems like the world monetary situation, economic issues, and military issues. However, those who have penetrated the inner workings of this group state that the real purpose is to take over all key policy-making positions in government and to unite the free world into a loosely knitted socialistic world government. You see, that's the underlying thing with the Trilateral Commission, with trilateralists. All right. They, and they sleep sleeping with the Bilderbergers and all of that, and the Freemasons and all of that, and the Rothschilds and different cults and groups and people who have a heavy influence in the world, okay, and who are actually cults. But this is actually a cult. The Trilaterals, they're actually a cult. So that's why Jimmy Carter, with his old cool, mild mannered self, he was just as wicked as the rest of them. Just as wicked as the rest. Just as wicked as Trump. Just on a more subtle way. Like I discussed, like in the last class, the gradualism. He takes the gradualism, gradually get to a certain point, and next thing you know, he's way over there. He started over here. You thought nothing was going to happen. Now he's over there because he gradually did it. That's a strategy. That's a strategy of war. That is a strategy. Okay. So that's another thing. Okay. So let's go to Habakkuk chapter 12. Chapter 2 and verse 12. Book of Habakkuk, chapter 2 and verse 12. Salaki. Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood. Destruction to him that builds with a town of blood, because that's what they're doing. They're building a town of blood. They built many towns of blood. They've taken land, they've taken power away from people, they've taken resources away from people by the edge of the sword. They've taken these things. Okay. It says, woe unto him, destruction unto him. Destruction is at his door, and he don't even know. Okay. That buildeth a town with blood and establish a city with iniquities. City with corruption. That iniquity is corruption. And just like we read here, it's corruption. These presidents are corrupt. Okay. These leaders, these world leaders are corrupt. Okay. So we need to be on our P's and Q's and to make sure that we know what's going on in this time, in this end time. Following the Most High, getting close to the Most High, praying and do what you have to do is one of the most important things to do. Because the Most High did say that the law, statutes, and commandments are going to be our wisdom in the sight of all the nations. It will be our wisdom in the sight of all the nations. They say, surely this is a wise nation who's so near to the Lord, who's so close to the Most High. You understand? Because it's not looking good at all. So you got the Arabic people. They in an uproar now. Okay, for the United States, all the effort that was going on. They're in an uproar. They're like, man, they're being very cautious now. They being they're disagreeing with Trump and what's going on, because it's affecting them. They know that it's going to affect them. Our actions and the actions of this president of the United States is going to affect them, the Arab countries, because eventually they're going to want to take over and own that oil, because that's what that fight is over. Okay, that's exactly what that fight is over. Let's go to Zechariah chapter 11 and verse 4. Zechariah chapter 11 and verse 4. Thus saith the Lord my God, feed the flock of the slaughter. Feed the flock of the slaughter. We're that flock, and they slaughtering the hell out of us. Feed that flock. Most I say feed that flock. Because we have to pay, of course, for the sins that our forefathers have committed. We got to pay for unaliving ourselves because we have that characteristic and do those behaviors. Being the most biggest murderer in the hood is the hero. That's the hero. You know, who did the most time in the pen? That's the hero. Okay, who can out slick and sleep with that man's wife? That's as many men's wife as he could. That's the hero. Who could be the pimp? That's the hero. Well, the Lord said, feed the flock of the slaughter, because we got to pay for that. We got to pay for that, and it ain't gonna be nothing nice. We've been paying, but now it's time for our oppressor to pay. All right. It says, verse 5 says, whose possessors slay them. That's our oppressor. He's our possessor. Okay? He slays us. He unalives us. And hold themselves not guilty. And held itself not guilty. And look what's happening to them. Okay? And they that sell thee say, blessed be the Lord, for I am rich. See, looking for that power and that control and all those things. I'm rich. I got money. I got stocks and bonds. I just unalived you and your family. Okay? I just unalived you and your family. And I'm rich. All right? Blessed be the Lord, I say. And their own shepherds pity them not. We're dying in these streets and our own shepherds pity us not. See, we catching the real brunt of what's going on. These things happening to them right now is little compared to what happened to us and what is continuing to happen to Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. It's very little compared to it. You know, we have to come out of this fake idea that getting money and getting yours and saying forget your own brother is the way to go. It's not. It's not getting us anywhere. Okay? So I did read page 216. This is the bottom of page 216. In essence, the CFR, which is Central Foreign Affairs, Foreign Relations. Make sure I get that right. I didn't say that right. The CFR. Council of Foreign Relations. Council of Foreign Relations. Okay. In essence, the CFR, the Bilderbergers, the trilateralists seek power. See? That power will corrupt and someday usher in the age of the Antichrist. Like I said, that's what the way that the author says it. Okay. And then he goes into Jimmy Carter then and speaks about that. So we have to look at these things. So let's go see if I got any more on that, what I just read. Okay, the shepherds pity them not. Those are our Black leaders. Those are Hispanic leaders, so-called Native Indian leaders. They pity us not. They're not helping us. I don't see one come forward. One hasn't come forward with all that's been happening lately and pre-lately. Nothing has happened. They haven't come forward. They haven't come to try to help us out of our dilemmas. They haven't helped us out of that. But yet we're looking at them as leaders. Our people looking at them as leaders, the ones that's going to get us over the hump, the one that's going to get us through all this persecution that's happening. Okay. All this is going on is leading into World War III. All this is going on is leading to the end of this earth, to the beginning of the kingdom of the Most High. All right. Let's go. I'm going to go to Psalms 58. Psalms 58 and verse 3. The wicked are estranged from the womb. So that shows you the natural tendencies and behaviors of our oppressor. His tendencies are estranged from the womb. So before he was even born, he was estranged. Okay. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. Speaking lies. You understand? That's what it is. That's right, Sister LaWaria. The oppressors and his seven-headed dragons. Yeah. I can't say that right on this because I don't want to get censored. But you're right. You're absolutely right, sis. Our oppressor is the devil the Bible speaks of. Okay. And those beasts and dragons and revelations that you're referring to, those are the different nations. Those are nations like the Netherlands, like Ireland, like Luxembourg, like Rome, like France, like Germany. That's them beasts, them dragons. That's right. That's them. That's our oppressor. That's where his people are from. That's where his people are. That's where he originated from. Those are his people. You understand? Hold on, give me a second. So yeah, that's where they originate from. They originate from those European nations. That's what they're trying to make America, the United States of Europe. It's stated in this book, the United States of Europe. That's the ultimate goal. Okay. That's their ultimate goal. What they want is, like you said, like who was that? That was wasn't that one of the Clintons? Not Clinton. Yeah, was it Bill Clinton? It said a new world order. A new world order. We want a new world order. We're gonna usher in the new world. Well, that's the goal of the trilateral people. That's their goal. Control all the food supply, the federal agencies, control money and credit, control all the transportation. All the transportation, control that. Control all communication. You're getting censored here. It's no longer freedom of speech. That's why in the near future, we're not going to be able to hear from us prophets. Now, people are going to want to hear from us, but they're going to be able to hear from us no more because they're going to censor and control communication. Okay? Control all public utilities. They're going to control all of that as well. Okay? He's going to state it. He's going to say, there's a national emergency. That's what the president is going to say. A national emergency exists. So now he can control your bank account because of a natural emergency. Okay, they'll immediately freeze your account. This is from page 219 I'm reading off of. I want y'all to see this, to hear this. You will be immediately frozen. Both checking and savings. You could be prohibited from making any withdrawals of cash. You could be prohibited from writing any more checks. Okay, the bank would decide what is customary. The bank will decide for you what's customary. Okay, and these actions that affect the president so inclined to surrender the sovereignty of the United States and molded into a one world socialistic pattern. Okay. But there's more to it. Similarly, control and prohibit all CB radio transmission. You know them CBs radios that those truckers use. You know, when they be talking all that stuff on the road while they driving through the countryside, they're gonna control that too, or they're gonna prohibit it. Okay, so you're not gonna know what's going on. Confiscate and excess and surplus real and personal property owned by private citizens. Ration virtually the entire output of American industry. Damn. Shut down every private school in the country and take possession of the buildings for government use. That's what they want to do. You see, that's what they want to do. There are hundreds of regulations included in this emergency powers plan, which include seizing property, instituting of martial law. That's what Trump is trying to do, right? And do that for DC, with the troops in DC. Controlling travel, all which in effect control the lives of American citizens. Restructuring of the United States. Okay, federally controlled nation. Have a federally controlled nation, which is the domination of the United States through the executive branch. The Trilateral Commission is merely a passive group, but an active, influential one. It's a passive group, but it's an active, influential one. Okay, so we had to be, had to understand what's going on here. Okay. Let me see. So they go forth speaking lies. Look at all the lies that's in this book. Look at what they're lying about, but telling you everything is cool. They say it's raining, but somebody's urinating on your shoes. That's what they say. It's raining, but he's urinating on your shoes. All right. The approaching of the 200th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence could justify the call for a national constitutional convention to re-examine the nation's formal institutional framework. Isn't that what they're doing now, trying to do the Constitution like they're doing? Trying to get rid of the Constitution? Either 1976 or 1989, the 200th anniversary of the Constitution could serve as a suitable target date, culminating in national dialogue on the relevance of existing arrangements. Realism, however, forces us to recognize that the necessary political innovation would not come from direct constitutional reform. Desirable as that would be, the needed change is more likely to develop incrementally and less overtly, in keeping with the American tradition of blurring distinctions. That's those lies, blurring the distinctions, the boundaries between public and private institutions. See, public and private institutions, they're trying to blur all that, trying to tell you it's a lie. Trying to tell you it's good, it's the truth, you know. So that's what we see also in our oppressor. Let me see back. We went to Obadiah, but we didn't go to verse 8. Okay, so this is the book of Obadiah. Chapter 1 and verse 7. All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee. See, although our oppressors out there deceiving everybody, The ones that he think he's cool with, they're going to deceive him. See, they're going, Trump had that talk with Russia, but Russia didn't stop fighting the Ukraine. Russia's still at war with the Ukraine, but the president lied and said that he's going to be able to stop that conflict. But where's the peace at? He didn't stop it. Okay. All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. See, every nation, every state is going to go back into their own nation. Every man is going to go back into his own tribe. You understand? That's in the book of Matthew, isn't it? It's in Matthews. We're going to go to Matthews in a minute. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is no understanding in him. See, they were cool with you, but they laid a wound up underneath you that you're not going to be able to deal with. You're not going to be able to heal from that one because it's underneath you. You didn't see it. But they're confederate against thee. The nations of America think everybody's cool with them. They're confederate against you. Iran hates America, doesn't it? Don't they? So we're going to go to Matthew 24. We're going to go to Matthew 24. And this was on the Mount of Olives when the disciples were speaking Christ was speaking to the disciples. I'm going to start at verse 1. And Christ went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him for to show him the buildings of the temple. And Christ said unto them, See ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another. There's not going to be nothing left. It's going to be bombed away. It's going to be nuclear bombed away. Okay? It shall be thrown down. One stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. There won't be a stone that won't be thrown down. Okay? That's coming to a theater near you, America. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came to him privately, saying, Tell us when these things shall be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming and the end of the world. Because they would want to know when was going to be the end of the world. When's the sign for these things to come? Christ, when is the sign? Okay, that's what they wanted to find out. And Christ answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you, because he knew that our oppressor is a liar. He's the one who called him a liar. He said, You the father of it. Not only are you a liar, but you're the father of a lie. No truth lives in you. The truth does not abode in you. Okay. So he said, Take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. All these mega churches and all these swallowing priests, swallowing pastors, AIDS infected pastors, money hungry stealing pastors, all right, pedophile pastors, all right. Take heed that no man deceive you. Verse 5, so for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. Okay. Verse 6, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. Well, don't you hear that now every day now? Everything's going on. You're hearing wars and rumors of wars going on. Okay. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. And it's not yet, so don't worry about it. Israel, brothers, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, don't worry about it. The end ain't yet. All right. For nation shall rise against nation, which was my point. Every man gonna go against the other nation. They're gonna go to their own nation. And kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. Earthquakes in different places as well. Nations against nations, that's coming. Kingdom against kingdom. Ukraine against Russia. Israel against Palestine. Pakistan against India. China against the other part of China. Korea against the other part of Korea. Okay? You seeing all of that. All of that that's going on. All of these nations. You know, you got the Ukraine against Russia. You got Pakistan, India, China against India. Lebanon against Israel. Right? Iran against Israel. A lot of that going on. Okay? Kingdom against kingdom. There shall be famines and pestilence. People are starving in Gaza right now. People starving in Africa. People starving right here in the ghetto. Starving. In a world, a superpower nation. Starving within this superpower nation. Okay? And there shall be famine and pestilence. Pestilence. The COVID is coming back. All right? Monkeypox, COVID, the bubonic plague. Somebody just I think got unalive by the bubonic plague came back. Damn, the black plague came back. The black plague from medieval times came back. Measles came back. You know, I remember there were measles shots when I was young. People getting measles shots and rubella, typhoid flu, scarlet fever. Okay, pestilences. They got this thing now where they're talking about some type of corkscrew worm. There's a worm that the fly larvae coming, and if you get caught by it, they got to do a hell of a surgery to get that thing out of you, and it attacks humans. It's a pestilence. Earthquakes in different places. Even volcanoes is happening. Volcano, just recently wasn't a volcano shooting up lava in the sky like 1,000 feet. Yeah, this is what the Lord is causing to come to pass. All these, verse 8, all these are the beginnings of sorrows. Verse 9, and they shall deliver you up to be afflicted, and it shall kill you, unalive you, and you shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. You're going to be hated from all these nations because of his name's sake. These things are coming to pass, and they're coming rapidly now. They're being more frequently you hearing the school shootings. More frequently you hearing of mass murders. More frequently you hearing of you got the Epstein thing going on. You got they getting ready to reveal all that list, which probably President Trump is probably on that list. You're hearing a lot of things that are going down, and it's not going to get any better. It's not going to get any better for our oppressor. It's a lot. So they're gonna be delivering us up to kill us. They can't wait to get their hands on us. Inflation and jobs. They're not gonna have all that going on. They're having all that going on. Inflation is going up. Jobs are going down. But they say, well, despite that, the stocks are going up. That's because of this secret plan that's behind all the money. They have the money to do these things, but they're making sure you don't get it. So while the jobs and the inflation are going up and the jobs are going down, them stocks are still going up. Because it's a purpose behind that, an evil motive behind all of that. Okay. Let's go to 1 Maccabees 2:10. right here. What nation have not had a part in her kingdom and gotten of her spoils? See, this is why they're going through there. They're having all this turmoil and this chaos going on. Because they let all these nations destroy and abuse us. They let them set up businesses in our neighborhoods and communities. They let them become the lenders and we're the borrowers. They let them get up high above us and we go very low. They let that happen to us. And the Most High wanted that to happen to us for a reason, but that time is over. But they prolonged our affliction. They were prolonging our punishment, you know. Not that they know the Most High's plan, but they prolonged all these things. They let these things continue to happen to us because they want us to be destroyed. They definitely want us to be destroyed. Verse 11, all her ornaments are taken away. Of a free woman, she is become a bond slave. Of a free woman, she has become a bond slave. Oh, being free for us back in Jerusalem, back in Israel, where we were originally from, we were free there. But we have become a bond slave over here because of our disobedience. And because of that, we've been afflicted by this oppressor who is terrible, who is just terrible. When you see us on these street corners shouting and saying that and hollering at you, and then you like get offended and everything, don't get offended. Don't get offended by it. Come and learn from us, man. Come and learn from us because you're going to need to get this information because the time is getting cut real short. The time is cut because it's time for our king to come back and rule this world. It's time for us to be free from these Democrats and Republicans and whatever bipartisan or satanic church they from, or satanic cult that they're from. It's time for us to be cut from that yoke. Get away from that. All right. The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7 and verse 7. All right. So when you hear us on the corner, listen up. It says, verse 7 says, surely oppression makes a wise man mad. You know, we're straight pissed off in our SUPK of all that's going on because we're being affected by it. Our people are being affected by it. We're not getting free from this. We're getting more bills. We're getting more unjust, systematic segregation and slavery and all these things. Systematic. And I don't mean slavery like our ancestors. I mean slaving to your job. Okay? We have to show up all the time. We have to get more duties piled on top of the already strenuous duties that we already have at work. Oh, now you got to do something else. Oh, now you got to do what the hell you think we're supermen or superwomen? You know, we got to do more and more because our oppressor's not satisfied. Because he's not satisfied with the blood that he's shedding. So he wants more blood. He wants more unaliving. So now the unaliving is coming to him now. But the most high is letting that happen to him now. His children are becoming unalive. His children are being drowned in the floods. His children are becoming up missing. All right. It's coming to him now. You know, it's going to be pretty soon, very soon. We're going to see a lot of these things come to pass. And after all the pain and the sorrow and destruction that it's going to cause, we're gonna come out of this. We're gonna come out of his yoke. We're gonna come out of his domineering behavior and his vain and egotistical and just evil, straight up evil practices and situations, and his unfair practices, his uneven, his what they say when you're a merchant and you got those weights and those weights are not right. They're not calibrated right, and it makes things seem more heavy than they're supposed to be, or more lighter than they're supposed to be. So he don't got to pay. Unfair scales. The scales are unfair against us, man. Oh, you use up this much electricity, but you really didn't. You used up this much water, but you got to pay this now, but you really didn't. You understand? You get all these dollars, you get a raise. You're making a hell of a lot more money. Well, back when it was a time when the dollar was valuable, that would have been said something. But now the dollar's value is being shrunken and being lowered and decreased. There's one time where you used to get 100 pieces of candy for $1. 100 candies for $1. Try to do that today. You're gonna have to get 2 pieces of candy for $1. You understand? The dollar is getting devalued. There's a big movement against us by our oppressor. And now he has to protect himself because people are not going for that anymore. The children of Israel are not going for that anymore. It's coming to a point where so much truth is being spread and spewed out that he's not going to be able to hold back the floodgates, and the door is going to burst and break open, and all the lies and all the underlying evil intent that has been going on since day one and the beginning of time are going to come out of there. And then we're going to realize who the real devil is. Just like Sister LaWaya said. All right, we're going to find out who the man of perdition is. Sons of perdition. Who he really is. And once everybody really knows, that's it. Game over. Game, set, match. You understand? So be ready. Be ready. Prepare yourself for World War III, for things that's going to happen. Because that power outage is going to come. When that power outage comes, know that your oppressor caused it. But know that you're going to have to survive it. All right? Know that eventually, if you endure to the end and hold out, the kingdom of the Most High is going to be yours. You understand? It's going to be yours, and there won't be no more of this. We at the last Exodus. This is the last time we're going to come out of Egypt. We came out of Egypt when Moses led us out of Egypt, and the Most High led us out of Egypt when he sent his angels. He sent Moses and Aaron. But this time, priests and prophets are going to teach you, and we're going to be doing this and bring you out of this bondage for the last time. You won't have to. You won't have to. It won't be no question in your mind of what's really happening and why this is happening, why these things are happening. Because you're going to know that the Lord commanded for this to happen. And he commanded for you to keep his laws, statutes, and commandments to make sure that you get into his kingdom in the first place. He commanded you to be a brother to your brother, no matter what, because our oppressor don't care. He's like I said, he's like a lion going through the streets, seeking whom he can devour and eat, because he got his police doing that, searching the streets. You're getting pulled over every 5 seconds. You ain't doing nothing but driving home from work, but you're getting pulled over for it. You getting the drugs planted on you. You get unalive for no reason, for reaching for your cell phone. You're getting all these things happen to you. Look, thank good, Barakatah Yahweh Shah for child support. Just get ready to be no more child support in California. That was a roaring lion seeking to destroy you. How many men got put in jail for it? How many men unalive? They're women because they couldn't take it anymore. I mean, them child support checks were crazy. Now, I mean, I'm coming home. I personally came home with $400 per paycheck for the month. So that's $800 a month to live on. Rent back then, $1,300, and you got $800 in your pocket. You got to eat, pay your bills. You got to put gas in your car to get back to work to get your check cut for child support. He's seeking the deportation of all the Latinos, like a roaring lion in the street, seeking whom he can devour and eat. You understand? That's what he's trying to do to you. And if you're not tuned in to what the Most High wants you to do, it could be you. It could be you. You don't want that to happen. You don't want that to happen. So get your spirit right. Get right with the Most High. Because we know this is all coming to a close. This is the last time we got to come out of this place, to come out of this bondage, to come out of the grip of Pharaoh. That's all Trump is Pharaoh. Most High hardened his heart. He hardened the Pharaoh's heart, so he wouldn't let us go. But the Lord did it to show himself to be mighty on the earth and show that he can still release and free the children of Israel from that wicked and evil bastard, that Pharaoh, our oppressor today, Trump, and the rest of those politicians and bipartisans, whoever the hell they are, and even the one that got unalived. You understand? We're not going to be going through this anymore. It's time for true judgment and righteousness to be in this earth. It's time for us to be free and have a rest, because this is not our resting place. We can't get no rest. You can't get no sleep dealing with all of this. You understand? You have to get up and perform and work and go crazy at that job, because he wants all these things done by 12 noon before you even go to lunch. He wants all this stuff done. He wants you to pack all these things up and get them ready for the order so that the company can get rich off your back. The company can get rich off of you being unrested. Those sleepless nights that you go through. That's what he wants. You understand? Shoot, it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, Olivia, it's a lot of utilities. You got to pay more now. You have to pay more for all those bills, all those different things, because they set it up that way. They rigged all those machines and gauges and meters so that it could say that you used all this up, but you only used about that much. You didn't use a whole lot of that stuff. And all the rent, all the slumlords and crazy people getting big time rent money and off of your hard-earned paycheck. You can't even take a damn paycheck home. That first paycheck is completely spent before you even get it. It's completely spent. You already figured out your budget. I got to put the whole damn thing on all these bills, and especially my rent. And some of it goes into your second check. You got to put the second check up, a portion of the second check up just to make the rent. It's crazy. Yet they sit back and live nice in this earth, rested, fully rested, not a care in the world. Well, that time is going to be over. You understand? That time, it's time for us to rise up out of this ignorance, rise up out of this misinformation, rise up out of this stuff, because he's unaliving us and he's unaliving himself. Our oppressor's that's just wicked as that. He's unaliving everything, everybody that steps in his way. He don't care, don't give a damn about nothing. The only thing he cares is that he has control and power over you, which is why he has terror on all sides. And that terror is going to get more and more and more. It's going to increase more and more and more and he's going to be horrified at what's getting ready to happen to him. He's going to be horrified for what he's done to the children of Israel and what he's done to these other nations. You know? So with that, I'm going to say shalom.